Welcome everyone. Today we are going to talk about something that every single person on this planet struggles with, our emotions. Specifically, we are going to look at an ancient philosophy called Stoicism, and how it can help you feel calmer, stronger, and more in control of your life. Imagine this. You are sitting at your desk, and you get an email from your boss. It says your presentation was not good enough. Your face gets hot. Your stomach tightens. You feel angry, embarrassed, maybe a little afraid. Sound familiar? Or imagine you are scrolling through social media, and you see that your friend went to a party, and did not invite you. Suddenly you feel left out, maybe even a little jealous. These feelings come fast. They feel powerful. And sometimes, they control what you do next. But what if you could pause? What if, instead of reacting immediately, you had a simple tool that helped you choose how to respond? That is exactly what Stoic philosophy teaches. The main idea of Stoicism can be said in one simple sentence: you cannot always control what happens to you, but you can always control how you respond to it. That is it. That is the heart of Stoic thinking. Simple to say, but life-changing when you actually practice it. Stoicism started in ancient Greece around 300 BC. A man named Zeno of Citium began teaching his ideas in Athens. He did not have a fancy school building. He taught in a public place called the Stoa, which means the painted porch. That is actually where the word Stoicism comes from. The philosophy of the porch. Over the next few centuries, Stoicism grew and changed. It moved from Greece to Rome, and it became one of the most popular philosophies in the ancient world. Soldiers used it. Politicians used it. Slaves used it. Even emperors used it. One of the most famous Stoics was a man named Marcus Aurelius. He was the emperor of Rome from 161 to 180 AD. He was one of the most powerful people in the world. And yet, every single morning, he sat down and wrote in a private journal. He wrote about how to be a better person. How to stay calm under pressure. How to treat others with kindness even when they were difficult. He never planned to publish these writings. They were just for himself. But today, nearly 2,000 years later, we can still read them. The book is called Meditations, and it is still one of the most read philosophy books in the world. Another famous Stoic was a man named Epictetus. His story is remarkable. Epictetus was a slave. He had no freedom, no money, and no power over his own daily life. And yet, he became one of the greatest teachers of his time. How? Because he understood something very deeply. His body could be controlled by others. But his mind, his thoughts, his values, his reactions, those belonged only to him. Nobody could take that away. This idea is called the dichotomy of control. Dichotomy is a word that means dividing something into two parts. The Stoics divided all things in life into two groups. Things you can control. And things you cannot control. Learning to tell the difference between these two groups is one of the most powerful mental skills you can develop. Let us look at some examples. Can you control the weather? Can you control whether your flight is delayed? Can you control whether someone likes you? Not really. These things are outside your control. But can you control how hard you work? Yes. Can you control how you speak to people? Yes. Can you control whether you give up or keep trying? Absolutely yes. These things are inside your control. The problem is that most of us spend a lot of energy worrying about things we cannot control. We get angry about traffic. We feel anxious about what other people think of us. We feel stressed about things that have not even happened yet. The Stoics would say, gently but clearly, you are wasting your energy. Put that energy where it actually matters. Now, here is something important. Stoicism does not mean you stop feeling emotions. This is a very common misunderstanding. Many people think that being stoic means being cold, or having no feelings, like a robot. That is not true at all. The Stoics felt everything: joy, sadness, love, anger, fear. They were human, just like us. The difference is what they did with those feelings. Instead of being controlled by an emotion, they tried to understand it. They asked, why do I feel this way? Is this feeling based on something real? Is my reaction helping me, or is it making things worse? Imagine you are driving and someone cuts in front of your car. Your first reaction might be anger. You might want to honk your horn or shout. A Stoic would notice that feeling of anger. They would not pretend it is not there. But then they would pause and ask, does getting angry right now help me in any way? Does it make the road safer? Does it make me feel better in the long run? Almost certainly, the answer is no. So the Stoic chooses a different response. This pause, this small gap between feeling something and reacting to it, is where all the power is. The ancient Stoics called this the space of reason. And with practice, you can make that space bigger and bigger. One of the most useful Stoic exercises is something called negative visualization. This sounds a little strange at first, so let me explain it clearly. Negative visualization means spending a few moments imagining that something you value is gone. Imagine you lost your job. Imagine your phone broke. Imagine a friendship ended. Not to make yourself sad, but to remind yourself of what you already have. When you imagine losing something, you suddenly appreciate it more. You stop taking it for granted. The Stoics believe that gratitude, truly feeling thankful for what you have, is one of the most important paths to happiness. And negative visualization is a way to wake up that gratitude. Marcus Aurelius used this practice regularly. He wrote about reminding himself that everything in life is temporary. His power as emperor. His health. The people he loved. He did not do this to feel sad. He did it so that he could enjoy and appreciate each day more fully. He wrote, "Loss is nothing else but change, and change is nature's delight." Another powerful Stoic idea is called amor fati. This is a Latin phrase. Latin was the language of ancient Rome, and it means love of fate. It means not just accepting what happens to you, but actually embracing it. Welcoming it. Even the difficult parts. This does not mean you should enjoy pain or pretend bad things are good. It means you stop fighting against reality. When something difficult happens, instead of saying, "Why is this happening to me?" you try to say, "This is happening, and I will find a way to use it." Every obstacle becomes a teacher. Every failure becomes information. But here is what almost no one talks about when they discuss Stoicism. The Stoics were not just focused on personal calm and inner peace. They were deeply, passionately committed to other people. To community. To doing good in the world. Marcus Aurelius, even as emperor, wrote constantly about his duty to serve the people of Rome. Epictetus taught that we are all connected, that we belong to one human family, and that we have a responsibility to help each other. This idea is called cosmopolitanism, the belief that all human beings, regardless of where they come from, belong to one community. The Stoics believe that your first identity is not your nationality or your family. Your first identity is simply, human being. And that means every other human being deserves your respect and your care. So Stoicism is not about becoming a cold, emotionless person who only cares about themselves. It is about becoming calm enough, strong enough, and clear-headed enough to actually be useful to others. When you are not controlled by fear or anger or jealousy, you can think more clearly. You can be more patient. You can be more kind. You become a better friend, a better colleague, a better partner. Let us bring this back to modern life. Think about social media again. Every day, billions of people scroll through feeds full of other people's highlight reels, their best photos, their achievements, their perfect-looking lives. And many people feel worse after scrolling. They feel not good enough. They feel jealous. They feel like they are missing out. A Stoic would look at this situation and ask, what is inside my control here? I cannot control what other people post. I cannot control the algorithm. But I can control how much time I spend scrolling. I can control whether I compare myself to others. I can control what I do with my own time and energy. That is where I will put my focus. Or think about a difficult conversation you need to have, maybe with a family member, or a friend who has upset you. Many people avoid these conversations because they are afraid of the other person's reaction. They feel anxious. They imagine the worst. A Stoic approach would be, I can control what I say and how I say it. I cannot control how the other person responds. So I will focus on being honest and kind. What happens after that is not in my hands. This is not passive. It is not giving up. It is actually a very active, very courageous way to live. Because it means you stop waiting for the world to be perfect before you feel okay. You stop waiting for other people to behave a certain way before you feel happy. You take responsibility for your own inner life. And that is a form of freedom that no one can take from you. Epictetus, the former slave, understood this better than almost anyone. He said, men are disturbed not by things, but by the opinions about things. In other words, it is not the event itself that upsets you. It is the story you tell yourself about the event. Change the story, and you change the feeling. If you get passed over for a promotion at work, you can tell yourself, I am a failure, I will never succeed, nothing ever works out for me. Or you can tell yourself, this is information. What can I learn from this? What can I do differently? How can I grow? The event is the same. The story is different. And the story you choose changes everything. Now, here is the most important thing to understand about Stoicism. It is not a theory. It is a practice. The Stoics were not interested in just talking about philosophy at dinner parties. They wanted to live it, every single day. Marcus Aurelius wrote his meditations as daily reminders to himself. He had to keep reminding himself of these ideas because they are not easy. They go against many of our natural instincts. Our brains are wired to react quickly to threats. To compare ourselves to others. To want more than we have. These instincts helped our ancestors survive. But in modern life, they often cause unnecessary suffering. Stoicism is a way of training your mind to respond to the modern world more wisely. And the good news is, you can start today. Right now. With one small exercise. At the end of today, take 5 minutes and ask yourself 3 questions. First, what happened today that was outside my control, and did I waste energy worrying about it? Second, what was inside my control today, and did I use that power well? Third, what is one thing I am grateful for right now, that I might be taking for granted? Just those 3 questions. Every day. That is it. That is your starting point. It sounds simple. But if you do it consistently, over weeks and months, you will notice a real change. You will start to feel calmer. More grounded. Less reactive. More grateful. Not because your life suddenly became easier, but because you changed how you relate to it. Marcus Aurelius, one of the most powerful men who ever lived, asked himself these kinds of questions every single morning. Epictetus, a man who had almost nothing, found freedom through this kind of thinking. These were not perfect people. They struggled, they failed, they had difficult days. But they kept practicing. And that practice made them extraordinary. You have the same capacity they had. The same ability to pause, to reflect, to choose. The Stoics believed this was not a gift that only some people have. It is a human ability. It belongs to all of us. The only question is whether we choose to develop it. So the next time something goes wrong, and something will go wrong, because that is life, try to remember that small but powerful space between what happens and how you respond. In that space, you are free. In that space, you are a Stoic.